Hey, what's up, everybody? It's Dan here with more Stormbound. So today we're going to be going over my last couple of matches in the Renaissance tourney against Novattack. So I actually really liked this match. I think all the games were super close. I had to make a couple pretty hard calls, and we'll see whether they panned out or not. So to preface this, we we each were able to pick one deck from the decks that we created for the first part of the tournament. And we both ended up going with the Ironclad deck, which I think was the right choice. I think Ironclad at level 1 is pretty much the best. Um, get off to like a decent start here. Really want to drop the Collector Mirrors on turn 1 to get maximum value out of his extra unit. And looks like Novattack dropped his as well. I could see his deck list. The parts that were the most different were one, the unstable tower, and then he also opted for, I think, Embers of Chaos, which I wish I could put in my deck because I think that card is insane. And then he also had one more, which was I think Sound Drivers, which is the unit 3 mana, 3 strength, 0 movement, push the unit in front of it all the way back. And we'll see how that worked out. So I get off a Siege Assembly here, feeling pretty confident. You'll love to see a Siege Assembly survive. And he defends it with a 1 strength unit, which seems pretty good for him, but if you think about it, it was a 3 mana 1 strength unit. So still 5 mana to kill 3 strength unit and then leave behind 3 strength tower. Pretty good. And now we get off the Mia, ping him for 3. Drops the finite loopers, blocking my tower again, which is pretty good. But again, every single turn, if he's paying to block it, it's not the biggest deal in the world. So his Destructobots actually did me a huge favor here because it essentially killed one unit, which means that I get 1 extra movement. Or it means I can afford to play differently here. Yeah. So I cycled knowing that I might be able to get a free unit here, which would essentially allow my Ubis to get 1 extra unit type for its ping. I played the Destructobots there because I was hoping for it to kill the extra mech, but it doesn't really matter here. So I'm feeling pretty confident in this situation, but Novattack actually makes quite the comeback, which scared me a lot for the future games. Like Tigor and Spare Dragonlings was one thing that I was pretty scared of. Yeah, that was a good play on his part. Then I think I'm just gonna try to kill Tigor here, get a free 10 strength off of my Project Phoenix. So here I thought I would be a little cheeky and defend my Project Phoenix, but it didn't really work out. I thought that if I put it there, that there would be no way he could apply 6 strength onto the Destructibots tile, which would guarantee my Project Phoenix would survive. But then he makes some 2 movement play shenanigans. Yeah, and he sticks that. Yeah, see, who could have played around unstable build to exactly kill off Project Phoenix at my baseline? I don't know, but impressive play nonetheless. And now I've got like a little bit more pressure, but We do start our counting to 10 kind of game. He has 5 health left. I have a siege assembly in hand, which means Dr. Mia plus siege assembly would be 3 damage. So we just need to get in for 2. So I took a while here because I really did not want to cycle siege assembly off. Yeah, okay. So we cycle for wind makers, which conveniently is 2 extra damage. So and we learned from our match against Arthas Rue that you do not want to kill Embers of Chaos just yet. In this case, we can afford to pressure him hard enough. So it's looking like GG from here. And Novattack knows it too. You can tell because he emotes. Yeah. One card that we didn't see yet is I believe he has the 7 mana 5 strength 2 movement unit. I forget what it's called. The Toads. But I think he has that in his deck. Oh no he doesn't. He only has Tigor. But yeah, he has a lot of 2 movement units, and overall I think that affected the way I played a lot. Alright, so game 2, get the Collector Mirrors opening. It's actually pretty funny here. I think we get the exact same first 2 turns as last game, which doesn't happen that often. So over here I threw out Siege Assembly, which was really hedging my bets, because if I didn't get green prototypes here, then I would need to play Destructibots and Dr. Mia. But if I knew I could have got green prototypes, which obviously you can never know, I would have liked to throw out Destructibots instead, because playing Siege Assembly next turn would have been really good for me. Like, it would have essentially recreated last round. Alright, so over here, it's looking like a pretty easy Ubis, the Hunter. Alternatively, I could have played Finite Loopers to kill his unit, but what I wish I could have done is put Ubis in front of Windmakers, but then Windmakers would just push him back. So he gets off of pretty good victors here. This is 6 strength for 6 mana, which is decent, but it pushes him all the way back. And then right here, I remember I had to make a really hard call because I essentially had no guaranteed way to kill Windmakers. Yeah, and then I was really hoping to get like a Destructibots or something so that I could play move up 1, then find Loopers to kill it. But instead, I'm going to have to kill his Windmakers with my own, which is a pretty negative value trade. But I really did not want his Embers of Chaos to pressure me. Because alternatively, I could have put Dr. Mia in front of his Windmakers and then played Finite Loopers. That would have been a decent play as well. But it would make myself a little more vulnerable. Yeah, and then here we just play Dr. Mia. I think it would have been marginally better to play Dr. Mia near my base to guarantee that it lives and moves up 1. Actually, no. If he could kill Dr. Mia, then he could also prevent Dr. Mia from moving up 1. So I think it was equivalent. Yeah, pretty equivalent. So I really wanted to stop him from moving his front line up here. And I think I got it as well. Yeah. Drew out victors because it looked like I was pressuring the crap out of him. So I don't think I'm gonna need to defend anytime soon. Yeah. Got off a couple of really good unstable builds this game. It's looking pretty good for me here, actually. I think a better play would have been to play Link Golems first. Um, the reason I put Ubis first is because technically putting Ubis first means more of his damage goes to units on board, which means I get more board control. But I think a better way would have been to try to close the game out faster, and that would mean playing Ubis second. Alright, gets off a nice Tigor. I think I undervalued Tigor for these kinds of games because he is, like, in theory, 6 mana for 8 strength if he spawns the unit, which is pretty common as well. So trying to, I think I have 9 mana exactly here, so I made this play. Put the green prototypes down first so Destructor Bots has a chance of straight up killing it. And it paid off. So it pays to micro optimize. Alright, so this is the play that blew my mind because I've never seen this before. The sound drivers into Embers, into 0 mana Frostling, into Unstable Build, and I'm just sitting here scratching my head like, what just happened? So, the only option now is to rush him down, I think. But I don't have anything to really rush him down with. So, I think the logic there was if I go to 4, then he can kill me with Tigor. But if I go to slightly over 4, then I should be able to live a little bit. And then over here, I got the other token that Mirrors gave me, so I was doing pretty good here. Greengale Serpent's really dishing out the damage. I thought I would be able to kill his dragon on my baseline with the token, but now it's going to take 2 units to kill it. Hoping for the token, and we get it. Yeah. Because I played Mirrors twice, and you can kind of guess what you're gonna get based off of the order that you played units. Because the devs said this before, and I don't think they changed it, which is like the earlier you play a card, the earlier it's shuffled to your deck, and it's not like 1 in 8 chance for every single card in your deck. Like if your deck has 8 cards, it's like the sooner it's shuffled in, the higher chance you have of drawing it. So it becomes pretty likely after seeing like a sort of full rotation that you will see your token again, and that's what happened there. So we knock him down to 4. But it's very close here, very close. I thought Cabin Girls was a interesting choice in his deck. It it's a it's an alright card. I don't have too much against it, but I feel like there's a better option there. So I'm just trying to get off a fat Ubis right here, uh, thinking there's got to be a way, right? I would have put my Wind Wakers up there, but it actually would have straight up traded with Cabin Girls, which wouldn't have been that good. All right, so I was a little pushed for time here. I'll admit, I totally messed up the Link Columns play. Yeah, so that was a really big mistake. If I moved Link Golems up, he would have pretty much been guaranteed dead. Um, not good, not good. I think I was too busy obsessing over how Windmakers could push Cabin Girls and kill it, but yeah. So that was the first throw of this game. So pretty much an auto cycle on Mirrors here. He's useless at this point in the game. And I'm able to clear out most of his units, but I'm just thinking here if he has anything. If he has Tigor, if he has Windmakers, I'm dead. And so I thought about holding on to Siege Assembly here. Because, oh, no. I did hold on to Siege Assembly because I didn't have mana to play it. But next turn. Sweating bullets here. I've survived at this point, I think, one or yeah, I've only survived one, but I have survived one full Embers of Chaos, and I really did not want to go through a second one. Looks like his concern here was also getting rid of my units. So I was really hoping to pull a Dr. Mia out, but it's not looking like that's the case. Yeah. And feels bad that my front line was taken, but it feels good that that's what he uses Embers for, because I really had no way of handling it if it was at my baseline. Is the point of the game where we cycle a token into a green prototypes? Man, that's not good for morale. Yeah, so I'm just trying to get the biggest swing out of victories here. All right, so this is the misplay that I feel worse about than the last one, which is I I did not want to get rushed down by a 2 movement unit, and so I decided to block his dragon here with Seed Assembly, fully knowing that based on the order of cards, I will definitely get Dr. Mia in my hand next turn. So I was banking on surviving this one extra turn to essentially kill him within like the next maybe 3 turns, because he has three health left on his base. When I feel like the gamble here was actually extremely negative in expected value, because if he could kill me this turn, um, or the next turn, or the turn after that, then I would be dead if I played Siege Assembly. But if he cannot kill me this turn, then I would just win. And that, I think, is the only way that I could have won at this point. So here I am with Dr. Mia in hand and no Siege Assembly. And there's probably like a 1 in like 30 chance that I can cycle into Siege Assembly. But I don't even want it. I'm a broken man at this point. I made 2 huge mistakes, and I'm just like, let's do the next game, hit me with the Tigor. I'm over it. Yeah. So you got Green Gale into Tigor. And that's game 2. So best of 3. We know that we're pretty evenly matched, although I feel like I should have won that last game if I didn't misplay. So I'm like, in this game, I'm probably the expected winner, and here I am with Collector Mirrors in hand. So things are looking not bad. Okay, so he gets his Collector Mirrors off first. Pretty good, but again, arguably the best turn 1 play I could have had here. Except maybe green prototypes into linked golems. Maybe. Okay, here I think Captain Girls actually does work. Because at 4 mana, if you can get 5 strength for no reason at all, and you don't care about movement that much, it's actually pretty good. Like over here, Windmakers is only same. So the placement of Windmakers here, actually, I had to think a little bit. So if you put Windmakers on the right like I did, then Cabin Girls goes into this position. So he has to kill Collector Mirrors to push his front line. But if I put Windmakers on the left, then Cabin Girls would have been right next to Collector Mirrors, which means he could play Destructor Bots on the far left and push his front line immediately. Although he goes for the safe play anyways. I actually think that my own deck doesn't really have a good rushing game. So it's okay to be a little greedy, but he wasn't. So over here I cycled Victors of Melee, which was a hard choice because I would have liked to keep it in hand. The only problem is my other options were all playable this turn. Like they all had synergies with whatever I could have cycled into, but I have to opt for a pretty bad option here. And at this point, I'm actually thinking like Upgrade Point was not the best use of a slot. I'm looking at Novattack's 2 mana, 4 strength, unstable build, and I'm thinking, oh man, unstable build is just so much better. But do what you got to do. So Ubis here is actually looking kind of fat. I'm pushing his front line. I don't care. So I'm thinking if I can play green prototypes instead, then I'd actually rather play prototypes. Just so that Destructive Bots won't kill Dr. Mia on accident, because I value having 2 units as opposed to 1. Although, in hindsight, I completely forgot that he also has Victors, so it might actually have been better for Destructive Bots to do its thing. So he gets his token out first, which means he gets Embers off, which is not looking good. Yeah, watching those three units getting played was just from bad to worse. Sound Driver's putting in work here as well. So this is actually a really important turn, because with my token, I decide that I can actually rush him down before he can rush me down. But then, like right at this point, I remember thinking, shit, he has Tigor, which is 4 damage. So actually, I actually just lost, because Tigor in hand, 6 damage on board, I'm dead. And so I completely panicked and cycled Mirrors here, which I shouldn't have done. Yeah, yeah. I should have put Mirrors down exactly where he's going to put Victor's down, right here. And you guys are about to see it. Because I have 9 damage on board. And I have at least 2 damage in hand with Windmakers, which would be 11 damage total. But if I got Mia, I would have 3 damage in hand, which would be a total of 12 damage. So 9 plus 3 is 12. So his Victors, if it only lopped off 2 damage from my units, then I'd have exactly lethal. But instead, because I failed to put mirrors there, his Victors was able to lop off 4 damage, bringing my projected 12 damage down to 8. And that's exactly what caused me to lose. So you can see here that if I cycle into Mia, that had I played just a little better, I would be able to wipe him out. But instead, Windmakers can't kill this 9 strength unit at my base. He's definitely gonna have Tigor next turn. I'm just dead. On the off chance that for some reason Windmakers can push the unit twice against the siege assembly, but no can do. And that wraps up the Renaissance tournament for Dan. Good games, Novattack. Well played.